case is currently being re-examined by law enforcement, and rappers have recently disclosed new information about it. TAC, an industry plant, was trying to stop the blue and red street teams from competing, one police officer claimed.
Well, it turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Chokwe Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be in order to appeal to gangs and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Tupac Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truces, first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country. And that was why he was pretending to be this type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy.
If you compare that evidence to an interview with rapper Treach from 2010, it becomes strange because the two were formerly close friends and collaborated on a few albums. However, following Treach's interview, the cameraman neglected to stop and dropped his device to the floor. When asked about the two Tupacs in the video, Trey responds, "The last time I saw him, he was in Cuba."
So if you ain't ready for it, get on the sidewalk.
One last question. Nobody knows. Y'all good? Yeah, we good. Thanks a lot, man. We good.
Last time I saw him, he was in church.
A news website will post purported footage of Tupac lounging in a Cuban parking lot 3 weeks later.
Man, that's Pac, man. He was the outlaw. And Reg from Holla Back is trying to be friendly and get autographs. Holla Back exclusive, baby.
This led to the most well-known theory ever. Tupac is still alive in Cuba. It no longer appears like a theory in 2025, as the video shows, if you agree with Suge Knight, who has stated in numerous interviews over the past 20 years that Tupac is still alive. In one of these interviews, Suge argues persuasively for Tupac's survival by claiming that Tupac was doing well in the hospital just before his death. "Tupac and I were laughing and joking when I left that hospital. It's incomprehensible to me how someone might perform well and then terribly.
When I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad."
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never.
In an interview from 2008, Suge asserted that Tupac was still alive and doing well, which is strange given that he appears to be sleeping deeply. How were they able to chuckle when Tupac was asleep?
He was conscious on the way to the hospital.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
However, 2 weeks after the interview, Suge Knight was nearly killed by a man who shot him 6 times at a nightclub. This was the most alarming aspect. Knight recognized right away that his hesitation to report this to the police was probably because he had mentioned Tupac in his public interview. Suge Jr., Knight's own son, made the same mistake in 2018 when he stated on Instagram that Tupac was still alive and in Malaysia. Additionally, he posted a photo of a text exchange on Instagram with the comment, "You said too much. You must leave now." Following that, Sheikh Jr. started sharing a number of images of Tupac with contemporary celebs like 50 Cent, with the message, "He never left us, but they'll be after me soon." Beyonce suggested that he was being hunted down for disclosing all of this information. Perhaps Sheikh Jr. did this as a publicity gimmick to increase his social media following. But some people think. Many were incensed because of how concerning Snoop Dogg's involvement is. Tupac was chosen out because, according to Kef ID, a man who has since been arrested and police contacted, he was reaching for his gun at the traffic signal as the car across from him drew up. Everything was factual, they stated, and Sheikh Jr.'s father would be the best informed on the subject because of his presence.
You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a...
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually
No, once he got the reaching, I got the ducking.
So someone from your car
That's what happened.
started at Tupac.
Though he was not quick enough, Tupac was preparing because he sensed something was about to happen. After it went viral, Snoop Dogg did, however, watch the interview. He would later admit that that night he was meant to be in the BMW.
With Tupac, though, in regards to Tupac, I heard a story, did you give him different advice that night on where to go?
I didn't give him no advice.
Right.
We wasn't seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So.
Saying during the Tyson.
Yeah, this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that.
Okay.
So when they got to Vegas, they went their way, I went back. I mean, when we got to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car with them.
20 years ago, when Snoop Dogg was heavily tapped into the streets, this seemed to infuriate many of his supporters online. Snoop may have known Tupac would be the target that night, and we just avoided the car and Tupac completely, according to some scenarios. A tweet was posted, and officials even looked into Snoop Dogg. According to Snoop Dogg's recent interview, he was supposed to be in the BMW with Suge and Tupac. This claim is being investigated by the police. According to an old video of Snoop Dogg that went viral, he claimed that 2 days prior to his death, despite their close friendship, Snoop felt as though Tupac detested him. The altercation involving Tupac Shakur led to Snoop Dogg's arrest.
Say a week before he died, we was best of friends. 2 days before he died, I don't think he liked me.
Why?
Because we was in New York, and it happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kind of shit to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him. And went and did an interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I like it. I want to do some music with him. And I just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like tried to me, out at you, and you talking about you want to do a song with him. I wasn't thinking about his emotions. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked his music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us hanging out.
In order to witness a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand, Tupac traveled to Las Vegas with Suge, the head of his record company, on September 7, 1996. However, they saw an opportunity in the hotel lobby after the event.
Night and their entourage went to the Mike Tyson at the MGM Grand. Keefe D and his nephew, Orlando Lane Anderson, and 2 of their friends were also there. Keefe D told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago, in a proffer that couldn't be used against him, the shooting was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and him up at the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded the fight. Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino.
In the end, a security guard would resolve the dispute between Suge, Tupac, and the operations. Around 11 o'clock p.m., Tupac and Suge drove down to the club and changed before leaving for the remainder of the night's events, which would take place in the middle of the street.
Tupac's concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keefe D, jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the thigh.
The matter had been unresolved for over 10 years when authorities looked into a terrifying interview that a man named Keefe D made on DJ Vlad's show. He describes locating Tupac throughout the conversation and then actually pulling up on him.
And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car together. Just say that.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
Got to the light. He was gonna go drink, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac?
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next? You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat.
The Tupac case had been pending for more than 2 decades, as you may recall, when a man named Keefe D appeared out of nowhere and claimed to be aware of the real events. Many were skeptical about Kef-ID's attendance, but he would eventually disclose his own police interview from the night of the disaster.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you? He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in
of
the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen him going Suge head. I thought he was.
So Orlando across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, we rolled down the window.
Kef-ID's response to Tupac's passing, which demonstrated his genuine feelings about the whole matter, was also discovered by the authorities throughout their inquiry.
I hate that happened, dog. I really do, man. Because it took a lot of people's lives, dude. I hate it happened. Probably to God. I feel that was wrong, man. It was just purely wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wish it never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion on it. It never happened, dude. You know what I'm saying? I lost my Colombian plug. You know what I'm saying? Been having affairs up for 15 years. Couldn't do nothing. Couldn't catch a break, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I did time behind.
However, this is when the weirdness starts. Why, though, was Kef-ID imprisoned after his book was published a few years ago? Fans will accuse an elderly man of passing a Tupac and put him in jail because they think it's all a cover-up, and Tupac is still alive instead. Because of the information I provided in this video, people are getting too close to discovering the truth. When it comes to his involvement in 2 boxing deaths, Kef-ID wrote a book called Compton Street Legend. It contained minimal hints about his involvement in the crime as well as interviews.